Welcome to Amazing World Channel.
The revelation came in a snap poll conducted by Sky News, which found a large swathe of the British public want the government to play hardball in talks with EU chiefs. According to the data, 74% of those surveyed think a no deal on Brexit is better than a bad deal. On the flip side, at least 26% think any deal would be better than no deal for Britain. The findings come amid a fifth round of talks between the EU and the British Brexit team. Negotiations are being bogged down in squabbling over details of the divorce settlement, including the amount of money Britain owes the bloc. Jetty Britons are urging Theresa May to walk away from the EU with no deal, if it suits the country, but the British Prime Minister said yesterday that while Britain was not ramping up for a no deal, money was being used to prepare for every eventuality, including leaving without an agreement. She said, "We are preparing for every eventuality. We are committing money to prepare for Brexit, including a no-deal scenario. We are not ramping up a no-deal scenario. We are actively working with the negotiations with the European Union to ensure that we get a good deal." The idea of a no deal received widespread support among people on Twitter, but there were also those who thought that it was important to carve out a clear blueprint for the future. Jetty people who supported the Leave vote want talks to be sped up. One Twitter user wrote 74% of Brits are self-confident enough to believe in their country, a strong independent country, not in EU vassal forever Brexit. Another tweeted, "It means 74% of people see what the EU tactics are and don't like the condescending way they treat the British electorate." Brexit. Former MP and staunch Brexiteer also backed the poll. He said, significant. Seems no deal would be preferred by big majority. Go ahead, Eurocrats. Play hardball and make our day. But one commentator said no deal would be extremely bad. Hopefully people are realizing we're better inches as Downing Street engages in talks. Chancellor Philip Hammond sounded a cautious note yesterday, warning that a no deal could ground all flights the day after Britain leaves the bloc on March the 29th, 2019. He said that leaving the EU means untangling 4 decades of laws, regulations, and agreements covering everything from food standards to aviation. The finance boss added that uncertainty about Brexit is weighing on the economy. He said we need to remove it as soon as possible by making progress in talks with Brussels. We are being affected by uncertainty around the negotiating process we are engaged in at the moment. Jet2 chiefs like Jean-Claude Juncker are being accused of making huge demands on the UK. There is plenty of anecdotal evidence that businesses and consumers are waiting to see what the outcome is, or at least what the direction of travel is, before firming up investment decisions and consumption decisions. He added there was a need for speed from the 27 other EU nations. On Tuesday, the International Monetary Fund downgraded its forecast of UK economic growth to 1.7% this year and 1.5% in 2018. Britain was the only major economy not to have its forecast raised by the IMF. Twitter Sky News asked those polled what their views were on Brexit. September 13, 2017. Mr. Hammond echoed Mrs. May's comments and said the government is planning for all scenarios, including a no-deal scenario in which divorce talks end without a deal on trade, security and other relations. He added, at the moment, although of course we hope for a different outcome, we cannot be certain of that different outcome. But he was not committing large sums to set up infrastructure such as truck parks and English Channel ports, as some Brexit-backing lawmakers have demanded. He said that every pound we spend on contingent preparations for a hard customs border is a pound we can't spend on healthcare, social care, education, or deficit reduction. 74% of those polled said that they wanted to see Mrs. May walk away, rather than stay with a bad deal. Research by Rabobank showed that any form of Brexit, hard or soft, or through a new free trade agreement (FTA), would be detrimental to the economy and British workers. Under a no-deal scenario, British workers would be left £11,500 poorer, while an FTA or soft Brexit would see working Britons stomach a £9,500 or £7,500 blow respectively. Sky Data said 1,023 Sky customers were interviewed in a nationally representative survey on October the 11th. The group added data was weighed to a profile of the population. It asked which of these is closer to your views regarding a Brexit deal with the EU. But any deal is better than no deal. Of B, no deal is better than a bad deal, please reply. Or B. Sky Data said 761 people said and 262 said no.